Hey, this is Michael Enso with Advertising Report Card, and today we have a very special report card with MoCo Media, a video production company in North Carolina. This video company specializes in two niches out of a lot, which is real estate and yachting is something they're trying to move into. We're going to break that down on PPC, social ads, and SEO. Plus, we have a bonus at the end called a revenue generator. This is something we typically do on a service of its own when doing blueprints for businesses, but we added it to this report card specifically to show you exactly how you can take existing customers and make additional revenue with the same systems. Before we get started, a quick overview on how Advertising Report Card works. We go through and audit everything that you have and don't have. In this instance, MoCo Media did not have social ads or PPC Google ads running. And the SEO is something that we're going to be able to improve upon. Now, this is a reminder that you don't need to have this done for us to map out the blueprint for you. With or without, we're going to get you where you need to go. After this, we do a one-on-one and then decide however else we can try to help you. Whether you want us to assist you or you want to try to do some of it yourself, whichever you'd like, we can discuss it then. So before we get too far, I wanted to put some assets here in a link. These are important. We're going to go over them. I'll pop open the tabs here shortly. So the main things that I wanted to review in this specific video, in addition to how we opened, were the goals. We want to cross-sell the existing customers, and we want to generate leads for specific industries. Most importantly, looking at the funnel, how we're going to generate those leads, and different strategies that we can apply. So to get started, since we have 3 different channels to cover, I'm going to sprint through each one for this video's sake. So as far as the ranking review goes for the site, I was actually really surprised to see that we weren't ranking a lot better because video is super important for SEO, but it really is just one pillar. It's not the thing that's going to get you to rank. I mean, if you search for specific types of niches, which we're going to go through, you'll see videos show up on the first page as an organic listing. But in reality, the site itself should have some organic keyword traffic, and it just doesn't. I think that the majority of the traffic that we're seeing for the site is referral or direct. And that's odd because we do have the video, so we can use it to our advantage. Plus, we're in a small town. So there's also a few discussions about town-based local targeting that we're going to cover as well. The one thing I did want to say is that locally, you rank well. So in the specific city that you're in, you rank well. But if you look at the cities next door, like Raleigh and Fayetteville, there's a lot more competition, so the ranking is different. Now, as far as the targets that we want to go after locally, that's the reason why I want to have this conversation, because this conversation about your specific hub right now in North Carolina is applicable if you wanted to open locations in additional cities. For instance, Florida, to focus on the yacht business. This same strategy that we're going to map out for North Carolina is something that we can then apply to new locations or other locations in general. So in Pinehurst specifically, and then in any other city, real estate searches for services are dominating because there's so many individual people in the general population that have their real estate degree compared to other industries. So with that being said, it's a great market. If you can provide a direct service, that's even better. The main thing that I wanted to talk about for SEO specifically is for your local lead gen, not the actual video sale pathway. And the reason being is that this kind of steers into the rest of the revenue generation strategy. The main thing is that the breadth of services that you can provide in real estate allow you to take the actual services someone asked for and upsell them on all the additional pieces. So having that in order is something that's very important, especially since people are looking more at the listing walkthroughs. That's a huge photography niche that you can focus on ranking for organically locally, because not everybody can come to your house and take pictures, and not everyone can do it correctly or have the right equipment to do 360, drone, things of that nature. So making sure that you are driving the local traffic first is very important. You're definitely going to want to look at the competition, but honestly, in Pinehurst, you could easily overtake that market. Fayetteville doesn't look a lot stronger. And surprisingly, Raleigh has some good ranking competitors, which we're going to go through the competitors here shortly. But if you're looking to really dominate that section of your area for your headquarters and your home base, I think that there's a lot of room for you to grow into. And we're going to map out some of that as well as we go through this. I wanted to kind of pop open some competitors, though, to kind of get a frame of reference for where we're at when it comes to Moco Media ranking against who else is in the area. So the first one is Davis Video Pro in Pinehurst. They rank very well. It's just surprising to me how well they rank in consideration that we're not ranking Moco against them for the core organic searches. Again, if you're in Pinehurst, which I did this test, and you search for video production companies, Moco comes up. Plus, Moco has a lot of good reviews. There's a lot of videos that have been posted. So they do have organic rankings in that fashion, but the website itself does not rank very well and is not in competition with Davis, because Davis is beating all the way around. Another example of this in Pinehurst is Loyal Media. Neither of them rank very well. Overtaking them is something that you can absolutely do without having to go completely crazy with the SEO strategy. There's just, you don't need, 30 pages of content written a month to outrank these guys. I think if you just did like a base level SEO strategy where you're getting your on-site content sharpened, because that's one thing too on the website, there's a few things that we would need to add as far as like across the navigation to make it look a little bit more complete. Not necessarily corporate, but the main thing is the Let's Talk button solid, but the rest of this, there's a few things that we'd want to sharpen. But overtaking these guys is absolutely something I would say you should put on your agenda for that local region. The next thing I wanted to highlight was this website, because it's the #1 ranked organically in Fayetteville, right next door to Pinehurst. Well, not right next door. As far as the actual availability of production goes, people are willing to go the distance. That is another thing, too, that I want to show in the report for searches, which is the keyword report. There's people who are actually advertising in that entire region from over an hour away. I think that because there is a shortage of a lot of options, people are willing to, if they want to pay more, go out of their way to get that service. So Christy Lowe, one second, I did want to check something. This actually reminds me of Moco Media pop-up to grab some information. I like Moco's more because it's a discount versus trying to get them to sign up. So this production company is in Fayetteville. I know I had mentioned that. The main thing is that's about an hour away. They are advertising in Pinehurst, and they have a presence in search. So what I found that was interesting about this is that they are also in recording, not just commercial. So not like recording video, recording audio. So they have a full production suite. The main thing, too, is that they have a pretty good thing going, but competing with them is something you can absolutely do, like I said, as far as the rankings go. And the other thing I wanted to mention is Raleigh. Eagle Video is #1, not #1, they're #1 on maps. As far as actual organic listings, that it varies. Their website really is ranked off of them just being around for a long time. The site itself has a lot of issues for the rank as well as they do. It's incredible, honestly. So for me, from a perspective of driving leads, I see Pinehurst, its location. Let me scroll a little bit farther down to the section I wanted to bring up real quick. Its location, we can rank well for directly, but then the surrounding cities and stuff of that nature, how much traffic you'll drive from Bisco or Ellerby or Rayford is uncertain. Rockingham, Hamlet, etc. Looking at some of these areas and seeing which ones you want to go after are important because we can address them. But the main thing is outside of your reach, your ranking's down big time. You're not going to rank at all for any of these other areas. You have that immediate local reach, and it's because of the content and work you've done on the site and the videos and whatnot. But outside of that, there's really no ranking factors to the site. And what you would want is on-site, which is your content on the site getting sharpened, the new content being produced for you that's SEO driven. But also for you specifically, a lot of off-site. We can generate the stuff that you need as far as like the links go that are missing. Let me get that up as well. 1 second. For instance, like these links that aren't necessarily related to things that you'll be doing directly. It's just more or less like directory stuff that we post content on that ranks well and helps kind of boost your site up. There's hundreds of these and we just chisel away at it. But there's also core sites that you can be a part of that are related to directories just for video production that you're not on, that your competitors are ranking for. And we have a full list of those as well. But things like Eventective and other things that are event driven. I know that we had talked a lot about yachting and real estate. I know that you hadn't really expressed interest in events and weddings, but corporate shoots, things of that nature, all of those, they all have multiple directories, and having your site on those is going to help you overall with your ranking. So making sure that that whole offsite component is done, but then also your press side, just getting press releases distributed so you get backlinks from news pages is absolutely something that I recommend for SEO. I mean, the press itself and the prestige and branding comes along with the effort to drive the actual content distribution, which is my goal. Because at the end of the day, we're doing SEO. The main thing is you want to rank. You also have the videos, and you're doing shoots for companies like the police video that you had sent me that you did the advertising for, and then other ones that we could take and use as a press release, especially ones that if you're working with someone and you want to like really show them or really blow them up or get them a lot of exposure, a press release tied in with your company and mentioning another one is a great way to co-partner up on that. And you have the business to be able to do that. So I highly recommend that as well. As far as an example of what I mean by people that are easy to outrank, you can see this bubble map. This is just all the keywords in general, a combination of the keywords here you can see in this list, which to slow it down a bit, real estate videography, probably get rid of Apple and real estate YouTube because it's too vague. Tom Ferry, people that are in the actual industry. Apple videos, just general as far as the phone goes. But what I'm looking for is this: videography, video marketing, drone video, and then immediately into action phrases. So there's a whole lot of different things that you can look at as far as people who are showing interest or people who are top of funnel. Like they don't even know exactly where to start. Should they start here? Should they start there? Or maybe they haven't even thought about it. People who are looking for pricing are middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, meaning they've already gone through this research phase. Now they're at this, okay, well, I know what I need and I have an idea. And now they're ready to make a buying decision. So they're going to use semantic phrases that include things that people would say if they're ready to buy. So making sure that you're ranking not just for the general terms, but that we have those action phrases in there is also going to help a lot with getting the transaction side of this done. If you're trying to focus your traffic on getting someone to make a purchase immediately, you don't want to spend any money top of funnel because you want to spend all your budget bottom of funnel. If you max it out, then move up to middle of funnel. But if you're going to offer a direct transaction, don't go after the person who doesn't know if they can make their own video or not. Go after the person that has their credit card out. And that's how you can do that with this actual type of phrasing. And this is for Google Ads, as you can see here, how much it would cost to target a term like that. On the high end, $4. This is a national research, so it's going to be different in individual areas. I have an average for the PPC thing we'll get to here shortly, but the main thing is this. All of those keywords we should be targeting on the site, and we're not. Even underneath the service dropdown, when you go to the actual industry, which services versus industry is absolutely what I'll do for navigation. Because when people think service, they think what kind of service you're doing, and then industry is like the actual use cases. So you would have industry and then real estate and whatnot underneath that. This section is good because it does mention the actual individual services, but having an individual page for each of these is absolutely what I recommend as well. So as far as like the extension, the overall SEO effort, what we would be doing is pulling apart the different aspects of the site and expanding upon them while coming off as organic. Because somebody might just want a 360 tour, so having that in the navigation is going to push them directly to the service they want to pay you for, which is awesome. I like how you also map out the industry items. This is good. You actually have use cases mapped out into your content. It needs to be expanded upon and then have those mapped out to their own pages. While we're on the topic, this section is great call to action wise. You have a big button here. I would probably rethink this section. But then you have the booking thing here. One thing I would say is you might consider combining and consolidating this space, moving this up and consolidating the booking, or bringing this all the way up and just removing this, or testing this page extensively in general. As you pay to send traffic to it, it affects your conversion rate. Everybody who hits this page, let's say 100 people hit this page, 10 convert, you have a 10% conversion rate. Anything you can do to move that needle, whether it's moving this button or consolidating this space, is going to help. Giving somebody two options is always very beneficial because it's like either pick this or that. Unfortunately, these are framed almost the same way. It's a little confusing. So I would look into that specifically. Not to go off on a tangent, that's conversion rate optimization, a conversation that you should absolutely be having when it comes to paying for traffic. Like even SEO organic, all the people that you work for to send to your site, only some are going to convert, especially people who are not direct referrals. So you have to get them to fill out that info or they could be lost forever, unless you're doing remarketing, which we'll also cover here shortly. So back to the keyword gap. What we've established is there is a whole laundry list on real estate that we can focus on that your competitors are not. Not only that, but they're not focused on these services plus local, beating them out. Absolutely. Highly recommended. Dominate your area. I know that you want to move to different regions. You have a headquarters and a reputation at home. Be that guy in North Carolina. And that is absolutely a recommendation if you wanted to take that same SEO strategy and open a branch in Jupiter, Florida. You can. Same thought process, same strategy. But business sense-wise, I would dominate and max capacity North Carolina and then open another branch or partner with someone and drive leads in another city and then have them do the work and then do like a percentage split. But even managing that is a job in its own. You have to build out that entire conduit, all the documentation, figure out if you're going to be doing insurance, making sure that there's a contract. Like there's a lot of steps to that piece. So, opening up a new branch entirely as your company makes a lot of sense. Having a satellite location is good too. You just need to have that model built out so that rolling it out is smooth and is predictable because you don't want to spend ad budget in a new market and then have a hard time juggling that opportunity. Likewise, you don't want to put yourself in between two markets and give both 50% because you're going to overextend yourself 200% while not giving either market its due. So you have to really consider, what your resource allocation is going to be on the ops side once you start driving this traffic. I don't know, we've talked about the keyword gap like Trace, but I wanted to circle back and just show again, Davis Video Pro, the local, who is number one, in comparison to some of your competitors, is dwarfed as far as keyword rankings go. Dylan Wade Film, another competitor, dwarfed. Your main competitor in your area is almost none. Like you should definitely own Pinehurst number one across the board, which you're not there yet and you should. But then these other cities, I would definitely consider you being able to be the big bubble here. So keep that in mind for SEO specifically. This pairs in with PPC, which we'll get to in a second. SEO is completely different. So on the social ad side, I have more strategy than examples, and I'll tell you why. And you're really going to love this. Almost none of your competition is running ads. You can actually go and hunt out a list of video production companies in the country that are running ads. But if you're looking and saying, okay, well, I'm in this city, like, let me check and see, like, who my 5 top competitors are. If you actually go and look and see if they're running social ads, most of them are not. I would say maybe 10% of video production companies, because we looked at dozens. I found one on your competitor list running an ad, and it's Davis, and it's just one ad. So, and I linked to it as well in the sheet. I'll open it up right now just so we can talk about it. But yeah, so congratulations. It's so funny to me to think that video production companies aren't using their visual representation to do massive amounts of lead gen, but then at the same time, it actually makes a lot of sense because video production is highly visual. Getting that next job through a referral is highly likely. Getting that referral work because you're going to do it for one person and then you can just show that work to 10 other people and you're going to generate a lead organically. So there's that. Now, in my mind, if I take my step back and look at this all from a helicopter view for you, so that you don't have to, come up with everything. What I would give you from my angle, from the marketing standpoint, is this is highly scalable. You can find people to do the video. You can find people to do the production editing. You can find people to do the post-production. All you really need to do is shoot and produce and source as much of that to your team as possible, and you can just funnel deals in all day. Now, in addition to that, the main thing that I thought was interesting was the concept you had about having like a $2,000 video package that you just sell like a product. After looking at all the different options and people lowballing and this, that, and the third, I think that I'd really have to look at that product with you and really make sure that we iron out the value statements. Inside of that $2,000 shoot should come with like some predefined, like a 15, 30, 45-second edit. Not just that, but it's like talk about how it's going to be dimension-based, made for Instagram Reels and TikTok and all these other things, and frame that actual piece of that product into all these things they're going to get, so that it's like $10,000 worth of value for $2,000. That is really going to be the only way that you're going to sell that ticket, unless you do another item, which I was going to recommend, is maybe look at the order form strategy. Because if you're sending people to check out sight unseen without ever talking to you, and you just want them to book products through you, people are going to want to nitpick. Not everybody's going to want the $2,000 package. And consider this: somebody who pays for the $2,000 package might come back and want another piece of it, but not the whole thing again. So there's a lot to consider there. I mean, as far as unpacking that, you can always just start with the first product and move to a la carte, but understand the conversion rate's going to be less because you have more barriers to entry. You have a higher priced product that's not very modifiable. So it's worth a discussion of how you want to do it. Highly recommend looking at that a little bit more. I checked out the order form that you guys have and how that works, and I like it. So we would really want to talk about like the overall product and structure of that. But as far as building a funnel goes, on the Facebook side, you're not going to have much competition as far as the ads go. People do target business owners and business decision makers with ads. So you still have like placement competition, because Facebook doesn't charge cost per click. Facebook charges CPM, which means cost per 1,000 views. And so you still have like competition to pay to show your ad, but you're not going to have a lot of service-based competition, which I think is interesting. Another thing too that's really cool is that your main competition is national. People who are paying for ads for people to do like video, and people who are like showing interest in video, they're getting served ads. You're local. So since you don't have a lot of local competition, and the only other competition is like this distant person on a cloud somewhere in the distance, you have like the real big upper hand. Speaking of which, a lot of the videos that you have are great ads on their own. But one thing I was going to mention, I put this in the report, is Be Real is good, and the video clips that you've done is good. But the main thing is you're going to want to create a video introducing yourself, saying, my name is Grant. I've built a video empire helping people create a brand for themselves and tell their story. This is what I want to do for you. And like, make your voice, your face, the first 3 to 7 seconds of every ad we do, and cut into the video. And then for people who have already experienced your video, we can try the other version without you. But the main thing is really branding yourself as that service provider, that figurehead, and coming into your brand of MoCo. That's going to be another thing too, because of the few people I did find that were advertising, look, it's just professional wedding videography and editing service. And they have the video, and then they got a 2022 packages available. And it just links to their homepage, which just looks terrible and is clustered. It's a good thing that they didn't find me first, because I would have told them all that too. And they need to fix all that. But the main thing is they just launched this ad as well on Jan 1st. So somebody was working New Year's Day. But yeah, everybody else that we did competitive reviews on in your area, nobody was running ads. That's insane. So all the people who have the intent to get a video production company, you can cover with SEO and PPC and remarket to them on social, those services. But in general, you can also just target business owners and business decision makers and people who run ops, because it's not always like the owner of a company who's deciding on video production. marketing director, communications directors, overall general management. There's a lot of those different targets that you want to hit, whether you're in real estate or yachting. I mean, it's probably going to be a little easier to hit real estate agents, but think about it again. I mean, out of every real estate market, like 10% or less, a lot of agents say like 3%, but 10% or less of all registered agents in a specific city or state are doing the revenue. So there's not really a lot of people that are real estate agents that are going to want to spend $2,000 sight unseen on a product. Nevertheless, get a video done at all. They'll probably go and complain to their realtor about it. So that's a big thing to consider too, is just the real estate audience themselves is absolutely not going to be enough. And I want to talk about that actually. Let's dive in a little deeper. I'm sorry, I'm just in shock. Also, I wanted to highlight the #1 yachting video production company, Marine Video Production. No ads. Incredible. It really is incredible for me personally. Just, they wouldn't have to do much. They wouldn't have to do much. You know, they could 10% to 50% increase their business just trickling some ads. So yeah, this is a quick breakdown of the search and just kind of explaining the search graphic as well. Demographic targeting, age range and gender segmentation, needing to break this down. It's important because we want to talk to individuals on an individual basis. And it's also fun if you have like a woman ad and a man ad, let's talk real estate agent as an example, like 2 different videos that you do for 2 different, like a man or a woman. Use the man ad towards men and women in different ad sets and split test them and see which one performs. You'd be surprised. Sometimes the men are more convincing than women and vice versa. What that could be, there's a lot of theories, but the data is what really explains that story. And then also the age range. Having an old guy in a video might not speak to the young video, but then having an extra young agent with extra energy might not speak to your older audience. Making sure that you're catering the content and the examples that you're giving to your audience are very important to keeping the cost per lead low. That's the reason why we do everything that we do. I feel like I probably should have said that at least 3 more times during this video. Everything that we do and plan and strategize is to keep the cost per lead low. If you have a budget of, say, $10,000 a month ad budget, you're going to pay your retainer and your management for that. So that, let's put that to the side. You have as many channels as you want to be on: Google ads, Google SEO organic, 2 different channels, social ads. There's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. There's different channels that you can be on. Divide that budget, as that example goes, by 5. So now you have 10,000 divided by 5. So you have 2,000 per channel divided by 30. And since I'm slacking right now on my math, we're going to use Google to just finish that one up for me. Thanks, Google. $66 per day per channel. If you're running 5-6 ads per channel, you're doing $10 a day per ad. So you really got to understand, like, you take that budget and it trees out into different channels. So it's really important to understand that being as meticulous and looking at gender and looking at age and looking at how you segment that, it's the difference between popping $50 leads and $25 leads, which is 100% difference. So you have to really look at, okay, what can I do to maximize the value I'm projecting in these ads to keep the cost per lead down? So that's why we go as in depth as we do. The next thing is targeting. This is the absolute epitome of waste on social ads that you can avoid by following a couple quick tips. Before I jump into this real estate specific and exclusive example, I wanted to talk quickly about the yacht brokering. Yacht brokers may or may not be the best person to contact for the video shoots. Owners may or may not. We have to really look at that industry a little bit differently, and I'll talk more about that. But it is important to realize that we can target them. It's just making sure that we don't waste budget is important. And what I mean by that is what I'll explain. I'll use real estate as the metaphor for yachting, but also this is literally the real estate strategy. So if you type in real estate to target people on Facebook, there's hundreds of audiences, different types of audiences, people who are interested in things, people who have a job title, people who are employers of real estate. And the reality is most of the targetings are bad. Reason being is that Facebook will put anything they can into a bucket and say, this is somebody who's interested in real estate broker. And if you were to hover over that, it would say, this is people who have Facebook has identified as people who are interested in real estate broker. It doesn't mean anything. They could be a real estate broker. They could be looking for one. They could be suing one. It doesn't matter. They could be applying for one. Facebook's going to put them all in the same bucket. So if you look at performing real estate agents in a specific market or markets that are performing, I would say that probably less than 5% of that audience is exactly who you want to target. It's just, you're going to get everybody, and then people who are similar in that bucket, you're not going to get who you're looking for. So the way that you really want to look at this is in industry versus in market. People who are actually in the industry that you're trying to target versus people who are in the real estate market, whether they're buying a house or all the other examples I had provided. Narrowing that down in the audience targeting for Facebook is going to be the difference between spending $1 and $10, because Facebook is aggressive with the real estate bucketing. There's so many real estate audiences. I'd say it's like up there with e-commerce. As far as local lead gen, it's probably got the most types of buckets when it comes to targeting, because there's just so many types of real estate. Also, job titles versus employees versus employers. The main thing is combining these with inclusions and exclusions. And what I mean by exclusion is this. This is, in general, something that you would want to run in conjunction with real estate. So let's do like a hypothetical audience. Somebody who is in real estate or employed by a real estate agent. They are interested in video production, but are not a video producer. They are between the ages of 35 and 44. They are male, and they are in North Carolina. Combine all of those, and what you've created is like a fire hose out of what otherwise could easily be a waterfall when it comes to spending your budget. You're not going to be able to show your ad to people who fall outside of that bucket. So you're not going to have to worry about overspending, but then also you're able to test these niche markets a little bit better. And the main thing that's great about this is you can take a step back and include more audiences, but starting with like niche ideas helps you carve the creative and the copy so that when you go to those individual markets, you know exactly who you're speaking to. It's not broad. It's not just people who are interested in videos. You got to make sure that you're specific. What's the difference? Spending $5 or $10 per lead, or 25 or 50 or 100 or 200, it adds up. The difference adds up quickly. So I see that we are already 30 minutes in, and that's typically as long as the report goes. We're going to do an extension on this. Don't lose me now. But we're going to run through this. Automatic versus manual placement. Definitely move to manual. Newsfeed to start. Creative. As I just given you the full breakdown, this is that segment of just ad copy congruency. I can go into painful detail with this, but this is the main thing that you need to take into consideration. Also, Facebook ads and conversion tracking, not set up at all. It's weird because I actually tracked a pixel on your site, but with the ad account that you shared with me, there's no pixel. So I'm wondering whose pixel this is. I imagine this pixel is just the Simply Book Me pixel, so we can ignore that. Surprised that they actually have that on your site, because that's not your pixel. But this is labeled after your pixel. So did someone else create another ad account and add a pixel? Do you know where the pixel is added? Is it on the website? Of course, but where? These are some questions that we might want to answer before launching a brand new pixel on the site. If you do have an ad account, if you can get it back. If not, we can talk about next steps. So on the lead gen guidance, this is the breakdown of the split test. So I just want to give you like actual legit audiences as an example. The main thing I wanted to look at for the lead gen survey for yachting, and this is something you kind of already do on your site with the booking widget, but I found this on bark.com, and it was really interesting, like how clean and how prevalent just like took over the entire site, and you just clicked one at a time, and it made the whole process extremely smooth. And it didn't ask for any personal information until you get a couple steps back. So I wanted to take a consideration how we're going to generate leads for the yachting industry, because we're going to want to look as quality as possible. The people who are already in the industry have the quality, but they don't have the advertising. So as long as we can go to their market, the yacht production industry, and outdo them in luster, we can't just look like any other video production company. Like, we have to look like we're catering to them. This is definitely one way I would recommend. Can we use your existing forms for this? Something we have to look at. I'm not opposed. It's just we have to make sure that when we're driving traffic into the page, that it's built to convert. Like, this isn't bad. Like, I think it's cool. The counties would probably lean more towards cities, because I don't think most people are searching like, I need the best video production company in Wake County. Like, maybe you guys are out there like that, but most people are looking for city searches or regional searches, not county. County's like the rarest. I think more people search for zip code searches than county, because it's just more specific. But in the example, the main thing is it's just extremely brief. Like, the actual effort of checking out is very easy. Tapping on the image, not much of a difference. Just the visual component of simplicity is consolidated in this approach. Something that you can easily do on the phone. And then the remarketing and messenger campaign. No matter what you decide to do as a business, if somebody goes to your website and doesn't convert, and you had that traffic, whether you paid for it or not, or just through your reputation, you garnered that traffic. People wanted to see your work. People wanted to work with you. People heard about you. If they leave and they don't convert, that's just a lost opportunity, typically consolidated by a competitor. If you have remarketing, anybody who visits the site, give them a special offer. You're giving them 10% off for signing up. All right, it was 10% off for signing up on the homepage? Let me double check that real quick. Or is it? How much money off was it again? Yeah, I think it was 10%. So, have that in the ad and follow people. Just follow them around, offer them, pump your work in their face, and make sure that they never forget who you are. That's the best thing about remarketing too, is it's affordable. Only people who have visited your site will get the ad, so you're only paying for that. So it's the most valuable traffic that you want to dedicate to. And last but not least, as far as the price-sensitive market in real estate, this is one thing I wanted to talk about. This probably isn't as applicable towards yachts, but it's worth a test, but probably not. The messenger campaign from middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. If somebody visited your site and didn't fill out the form, or they got sticker shock in one step or way or another, there's a strategy called name your price. It's very popular in the automotive industry, but you say, hey, this person thought things were valued at this, and they got this instead, and they're way happier than they ever expected. And what can we do for you? What's your price? Name your price. And that strategy can help you net the people who might have backed off and try to get them to start that dialogue with you through Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger, saying it's like, hey, I only got this. Like, what can you do for me? At least you know that you can, send them off if you don't want to use them, or if they're tire kickers, you don't have to waste your time. But if you're paying for 10 people to get to your site and you convert one at a 10% conversion rate, if you convert two, that's 20% conversion rate. What can we do to net that second and that third conversion out of that initial 10 visitors? The only way is remarketing. So making sure that that's open, but then also with Messenger, change the dialogue, change the conversation. You can even run an ad that says, hey, we saw that you're looking for video. Did you move forward? How was it? Just start a conversation with them. It's outbound marketing on social, but it's also outbound sales if you look at the fact that Messenger really is essentially like a digital salesperson reaching out like, hey, send me a message. So this is the overall report card for the grouping strategies. You're going to want to go back and look at the different sections, because I did run fast through them. To close this off, I wanted to give you this other report as well. There's also some SEO reports. I'm going to share the entire folder with you, but the main thing is the keywords from PPC. It's cost per click. Facebook, CPM. Everything costs money to advertise. How much does it cost? So we put together an average of the different top of page bid for low range and high range against your competition searches, and we came up with a number for you. So this is something I'm going to need your feedback on. We can do this together on our one-to-one call, but the main thing is real estate video services. How much are you charging? So the low end, I put 1,000. The high end, 2,500. But you did say you want to sell a $2,000 product off rip sight unseen. So I'd imagine that you're more probably in this range if you're able to actually close deals like that consistently. I don't see why you couldn't be able to net more. So the main thing I want to talk about first is Google Ads. So we're going to reverse engineer this. Please ignore the other columns. Don't get what do you call it? Confused or anything like that. We're going to go one by one. Leads per month, let's just call it 10. So one lead every 3 days through Google. It's a low number. We can always change this number and it changes the table, but let's just do 10 for the sake of that. Conversion rates, 10%, as we discussed. You're going to need 100 clicks to get those 10 leads. The average cost per click on the low end, $5.76, high end, $8.98. So your budget on the low end would be about $600 or $900. Low end, probably not going to make it. High end, honestly, is probably like the minimum, because if you want that placement on the high end, those are the core keywords. Showing up for the other keywords, probably not as valuable. Your actual core based keywords, probably going to easily be like, $7 to $10. Those are the people who are searching for intent and have their credit cards out, by the way. So the fees, service fees, I just have $2,500 as our set standard per channel. So the total average fees with the ad budget and the service fees is $32.36. If your average revenue per shoot that we generate through Google Ads is $27.50, your revenue from just Google Ads alone is going to be $27,500 with your profit at $24,263. And how we got that number is we looked at the number of leads per month that you close and the total value per shoot, and then we subtract the advertising cost from this. So this is really great. It shows that you're net profit positive. There's some industries that have lower margins, like if we were to take a digit out of your services, for instance, pool cleaning, pressure washing, low budget pricing. You have to do volume to make money. In this instance, you can do volume and have a good margin. So highly recommend having some budget on the PPC side. Next, Facebook and Instagram. What I did to keep this as extremely simple as possible to project a budget is just kept it the same. Honestly, because if you look at the actual CPCs on Facebook, they're a lot less than Google. Google's going to be like $8, but you can get a landing page view for $1. So you can get 8 times less cost per traffic to the web page. But you probably know yourself that if you click on an ad, maybe not even knowing, or if you click on an ad and it vaults you to another page, which is sending page traffic, people are in that Facebook in-app browser. Some people don't like it. The bounce rate's a lot higher on social. And that's a symptom of what social is. Social is interest-based, demographic, audience. People on Facebook aren't going there to hire a videographer. They're going there to look at the newsfeed and their friends and their friends' dogs and whatnot. Google is where people go to spend money. Facebook, you can get a cheaper lead, but those leads don't always close as well. So you have to take that into consideration when someone fills out that form from a social lead. If you're not in front of them within 5 minutes, they could fall out, which is a whole other conversation about automation and lead funneling that we're building for software, but it's not a part of this report card. It's how to convert more social leads. But the idea is to send them an SMS, an email, and a ringless voicemail within 60 seconds. So you're hitting them on those different channels. And if they came in through social, ping them back on their messenger, ping them back on Instagram, all through an automated system. That way they're immediately taking the next steps. If you do get them and keep them engaged, a lot of people on social will say they forgot they even filled out the form. That is the mindset behind someone who converts on social. It's passive. The only exception to that is e-commerce. If someone sees a product that they want, buying that is great. But seeing somebody work on a roof and then we're like, oh, I want a roof on my house, and just immediately converting through social, it's not something that's top of mind for a lot of people. So you have to consider the difference in the approach. Last but not least, I really wanted to highlight SEO. There are no bids. You have to do the actual SEO work, so I put the expense in. Our lowest SEO tier is, we try to do $2,500 a month, but I have 15 in here because that's where I can start you, because you don't have the level of competition that would warrant more SEO. But this, out of everything, would be a longer term haul. You're not going to immediately overnight start ranking number one for everything in all the cities that you choose, but 3, 6, 9, and 12 months out, you can absolutely be dominating your market per the conversation that we had. So while this might not bring you a bunch of leads this month, it'll sustain you for the lifetime of your business if you get to number one in the areas. What I recommend is supplementing these. So first of all, social. You have no competition. You have to at least run remarketing on social. Like there's no doubt about that. And making sure that people who convert, you're not serving ads to anymore, and making sure that who you're targeting is people that are going to be making that purchase. Plus, if you want to sell the $2,000 product to real estate, you have to do social, because no one's on Google. Can I get a $2,000 real estate package? Like, no, that is an interest-based targeted strategy of a service that you provide that's niche to a market. The market's not going to be aware of that offering. You have to use social for that. As far as Google Ads goes, I don't see why you wouldn't want to do this. It pays for itself. You get a couple of leads and it pays for the whole show. I mean, Google Ads is absolutely something you can start with today. SEO is, for me, it's a no-brainer, but it's a long-term thing. If you are living in a world of instant gratification, you're going to want to go for the paid ads because you're going to get leads in faster. But if you're looking to build like a bedrock for your business in that city for the next couple of years, SEO is something you would want to start yesterday. It's like that. When's the best time to plant a tree? Yesterday. What's the next best time? Today. And the next thing I wanted to mention, LinkedIn. So with LinkedIn, the main thing that I wanted to talk about here is yachting. So what I'm thinking for the yacht thing is what you did on Instagram for IG DMs is definitely something that we can help you manage. If you want us to do your social media management, I don't think you really need that. I mean, we could do outreach for you, but on LinkedIn, if you're really trying to come across professional and hit them in the area that a more senior decision maker, somebody who sits in the office, not on the boat, and actually makes the business decisions versus the boating decisions. LinkedIn, direct outreach. We have a program, very affordable, $1,000 a month. We'll reach out to 300 people, 10 a day, so it doesn't come off as spammy. Conversion rates are honestly around like 20%, but the people who turn into actual leads once you generate that info, who are going to actual close, it's like speculative in the yachting thing. Like we have to really figure out the yacht industry. Just looking at your competitors in that space, it's like pretty direct to market. One thing I wanted to point out on the yachting side, which was part of SEO, we kind of skipped past it though, was against real estate. There's like 1 million searches. In the yachting industry, there is no volume for like video production for yachts or yacht video company. There's like some, but people in the yachting industry, and this is something that probably a lot of people in the industry can attest to, they have a yacht. It is advertising. It's like being a bank. It's like, we have money. It's like, yeah, we can advertise it for loan rates, but you want us. It's, I guess, not a bank because a bank's a commodity thing. But long story short, there's not a lot of yacht people being like, I need a video commercial. Like, I need to start looking for people to produce. Partially also because these people are getting pelted like probably 10 times a day, 3, 4, 5, 10 times a day on people saying, hey, we can do this for you. We can do that for you. Because again, yachting industry, big money, big cash flow. So there's a lot of people trying to do marketing for it because they want those high-end clients. So you have to be creative. I would say if you were to look at the different channels, real estate, Google ads, Facebook ads, SEO. For yachting, SEO would be super easy. That can be consolidated into the real estate effort. Like we would just knock that out too. But for yachting, I would say LinkedIn and social, because this Google ads, you're just not going to have a lot of search volume. Like we can run them in case it does, and somebody does search, we can be number one. But we could probably do that with SEO too. So that's my thoughts on the Google ads for yacht. I don't think you should do it. So again, for real estate, Google ads, Facebook, SEO. And then for yachting, LinkedIn, Instagram. So as far as the LinkedIn outreach goes, we come up with, you have to have the sales navigator, but then we build out all of your different demographics and pools and push out to them and then give a report as to who accepted it, who messaged back, and like the percentage of those conversion rates. And from that, we can change niches. So if you wanted to do real estate, and we just reached out to real estate brokers who are looking for programs for their agents as an example, we could. So LinkedIn definitely serves both markets, but specifically for the yacht thing, I think you're going to need it. And I said I was going to do something special. Oh my God, it's been an hour. How are you still watching? Because this is good information. Hopefully that's how. So the revenue engine. This is a very simple concept I've built out with different video production and media companies in general, whether it's news companies, graphic designers, videographers. It's how I've built a lot of my agency partners. But basically, I'm a marketing agency. I need creative. Give me new videos. Give me new creative. Let me split test. Let me A/B split test. Let me run new stuff. Let me get new content. It's the new month. We got to change. It's October or September. New promo, new season. You can't have a winter ad in summer. The list goes on. Like there's so many different reasons to have different 7-second, 15-second, 30-second, and 60-second ad cuts of almost the same exact ad, just for different intervals, different formats. You know, having the 1-to-1 dimension versus the 4-to-5 dimension. That is now the most popular because of Reels and TikTok. Having those edits post-production, not only does it allow you to add value to close people up front, because you're going to say you're going to do that if they're hesitant, but a lot of people don't want to also pay for everything up front. They want like a cheaper production, and they can take things in bite sizes. So let's take a look at this real quick. And then I swear we're done. So as far as existing customers go, post-production services, A/B split test video creation. We need 2 a month, $75 per video edit. $150 per video edit. Sorry about that. Unlocked revenue per client, $300. Seems nominal, right? What if we could get 4? So somebody who has a video production, but they focus on different parts of their service. As an example, a gym. What if we had 4? Personal training, class training, nutrition, things of that nature. You can split that content up and let them get those different pieces of content to advertise to their market. It's going to make their advertising more effective. It's going to lower their cost per lead with the additional creative. There's so much value in having the additional creative. Plus, they can post it organically, and they'll be able to use that for their own organic. They're going to look active. Their ads will never be boring. It's where you'd want a business to be, and the bigger the business, the more creative we can run. Different departments, different services. You could literally just, if there's testimonials, do different edits of testimonials. Like there's so many ways that you can to produce more content that we can test against. And when we're running ads on our side, whether it's a YouTube ad, a Facebook ad, whatnot, 20% does 80% of the production, meaning that if you gave us 5 pieces of content, one's going to be the king, where we then want to bring in 5 new pieces to compete against that one and see if the newer ad of what we've learned from that data is better. So there's really no shortage of use cases here, but let's get back to the numbers real quick because you're going to get really excited. So let's say you had 50 clients your entire life, okay? Now this is just a random number. This could be 150, this could be 5,000, I don't know. Let's just say 50. 70% of them advertise. Maybe somewhere in weddings. Maybe the cops, they don't advertise. Maybe they do. I don't know. If the cops advertise for recruiting, probably. So let's just say 70% have ad budgets. That means 35 of your overall clients you've ever had advertise. Clients that want new post-production. Let's just hack this number in half. We call it 50% of everyone you've ever worked with is interested in getting post-production. I imagine that number can be a lot higher because of the value you offer. You could probably make that 95% if you came back to your existing customers with the right angle. So anyways, 50%, keep it low. Total interested clients in post-production, 75%. So the people who hear about it and want to move forward, out of 50 people, 13.13, sounds unlucky. Actually, really does sound unlucky. But unlocked revenue for the different split tests, 2, 4, and 8, for your entire historical client base. So on the low end, with the smallest package possible, you just made $4,000 in post-production revenue. Simply by going back and having an offer that is helping them do better, helping them lower their cost per lead. I can't tell you how important that is. And people value that. Not to mention that YouTube is the cheapest CPM there is. You can spend like $1,000 a month on YouTube ads and get 100,000 views. So there's absolute value, not just in the lead gen side of it, but running the ads. Plus social media, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram. Video is king. Still images, nothing. You could literally bring this to companies that don't even have video, and if they don't want video production, just do post-production of still images and B-roll and sell this to just random people. So now, okay, so let's talk about this real fast. This is the exciting part. First of all, we need new creative every month. So we can multiply this by 12 and say 50% of the people who move forward the first time come back. We can do the numbers, but I'm sure you can imagine it's 2,000 times 12, 24,000. So $24,000 on the low end annual if everyone comes back once a month for 2 new edits, which as an agency partner, we'd be pushing for, not just to help you, but it gives us better creative. It makes us look better. It makes our campaigns look better, our numbers better, their revenue look better. We are incentivized to get this media done as their provider of advertising. If we don't get new video and it becomes stagnant, our performance looks worse, we look worse. We are in this together. So new customers. This is the exciting part. Let's say you get 10 new clients per month with this new lead gen wagon that we're building out here, which I think that the overall number was like 40 per month across all the channels, just as an example. 10 new. So 60 all-time clients once you get those 2 new per month. Do the exact same number run at how you can make that additional revenue. Remember how it was like 4,000? Add the 10 to make it 60 all-time clients for the additional revenue. You just unlocked another 750. But at scale, the numbers are ridiculous. So the reality too of this revenue engine for video production companies is that all of your historical clients fit into this bucket. We just got to run the numbers at who we're going to approach and why and have the angle correct so you can raise that conversion rate. But all new customers fit into this bucket. It should almost be a part of your process is that anybody you sign up to just constantly keep doing video for. But not just, hey, you want another video shoot? Hey, maybe you can pitch them ideas about, hey, maybe we can do a video shoot for this. More often than not, they're going to be like, that sounds great. Maybe in a little bit. Maybe they do in the future, 6 months down the road. But if they spent $5,000 on a video and they're going to put it on their homepage and forget about it, it was almost like they didn't even need to do it in the first place. Anybody who spends more than $1,500 on a video production should have at least $500 a month to put out into the world what video it is they just paid to produce. Because why are they paying for it if they're not looking to get an ROI? So that's it. This is the longest advertising report card we've ever done. If you're still watching, you're a champ. Moco Media, soon to be international video production company. If you guys ever need a report card for your business, my name is Michael Ensor, founder of Advertising Report Card. Would love to help you. Feel free to reach out. Later.